So you want to get better at automotive photography? I think I can help with that. This is actually a really nice setup. So today we're shooting the GMC Sierra EV Denali. If you're wondering why GMC trusted me with a $120,000 car, join the club. I was actually really into automotive photography when I was still in school. And although I don't do it as regularly these days, I still like to go out and do it when I can because I really still enjoy it. And over the years, I've picked up some cool little tips and tricks that I want to share with you today so that you can take better automotive photos. And stick around to the end for my tip on how you can go out and build your portfolio for free and potentially even get paying clients through automotive photography. My first tip, if you're not doing this already, is game changing. The first thing I want to start with is kind of like the secret weapon of automotive photography, and that is anything with circular polarizing built into it. I have three options here. On my camera right now, I have the Haida 327 stop ND, but it is also rotatable as a polarizer filter, so it's like a combo filter. Then, once it starts to get a little darker out, I have just a polarizer filter, no ND. It's kind of windy out here. I'm gonna put the mic on this side. And then I also brought something that Freewell sent over, which is their Freewell V2. Now this is one of those magnetic systems that Freewell has, and it goes on the front of the camera, and then you can attach with magnets, you can attach filters on the front of here. Now this is technically not marketed as a polarizing filter, but a variable ND filter is actually just two circular polarizers put together. So any ND filter can polarize stuff, you just have to rotate it. And because of the way this mounts to the camera, it's actually really easy to rotate when it's mounted on the camera. So why are circular polarizers so important for shooting cars? These filters cut out certain wavelengths of light, and you can choose which wavelengths by rotating the filter. So you screw on the filter and you start rotating it until certain reflections in the vehicle begin to disappear. Now there are a few different use cases for these types of filters, but automotive is particularly one of the best examples because cars are very reflective, and you don't want all of those reflections to distract the viewer from the photo. So put on the polarizer, rotate the filter until the most amount of reflections disappear. Make sure you keep changing it. If you rotate portrait or horizontal, you're gonna have to change the filter, or if you just switch angles, again, just give it a little rotate and check what's going to work best, because when you change your angle, it's going to shift what light is getting cut out. Now, just a disclaimer, circular polarizer filters do not cut out all reflections and are not a magic bullet for getting rid of every single reflection. Good lighting is still really important here. So I've got the car lined up here with the wheels turned towards me. I've got the car on a bit of an angle, and the intention here is that we can see part of the side of the car, but we're still seeing the front. It's a little more dynamic than just a straight head-on or a straight side shot. Now, although you'll hear in a minute, Anthony actually has a different perspective on this. One tip that I would recommend is to shoot at a longer focal length further back from the vehicle. How much more professional does this look now that I have a monitor on here?
You look pretty professional. Yeah, no, that looks sick. Yeah, like you can get a nice, I panned with you too.
My favorite focal length for shooting cars is about 70 millimeters for a full shot of the car. And this is for a couple of reasons. But the main one is the distortion that distance will give to the vehicle. As we know, the further away or closer to a subject you move, the more or less distorted that object is going to be. So especially on an angled shot like this, where you can see part of the front and part of the rear of the vehicle, if you stand too close to the vehicle and shoot at a wider focal length, the difference between how close the front of the vehicle is and the rear of the vehicle is to your camera is pretty significant. And because of that, the car looks a little bit weird. It looks kind of warped and not really ideal for showing off the actual dimensions of the vehicle. But if you step quite a bit back and zoom in so that you get the same composition, now the distance between the front of the vehicle and the rear of the vehicle compared to where your camera is are a lot closer together. And because of that, the vehicle looks a lot more rounded and like a normal shape. Ah, yes, the client will love these images. Oh.
I actually like a little bit wider just because it's a little bit more environment. 70 is nice if you want to like compress the scene or do detail shots. Just like try different focal lengths or actually mix them all together.
I think the important distinction with the compression too is how far away you are is what is going to affect the actual distortion of the image, not specifically how the focal length that you're at. For me, when I say 70, I'm thinking 70, but the car is like entirely filling the frame. But you're thinking like 35 but it's a little more environmental. You're getting a little bit of a wider shot. So we are, in
be.
terms of how far away we are from the vehicle, we're probably talking about pretty similar distances still.
Pretty similar, and I will say if you ever work with an automotive company, in the brief that they'll hand you, like the creative brief, it will say don't use focal lengths that distort the perspective of the car, or choose lighting that complements the curves of the car. Like if you go to a trade show and it's set up with just the standard default overhead lights, you'll get really ugly reflections. And so one of the things that automotive photographers will often do is they'll do multiple exposures or use really soft diffuse light so you're not creating those harsh point lights. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so. So Anthony preferring 35 millimeters here and me saying to not shoot at wider focal lengths kind of can go hand in hand here. His thoughts and my thoughts on this don't actually conflict with each other because it's not actually about the focal length you shoot at, it's about the distance you are from the vehicle. And what Anthony's talking about more is standing still at that same distance that I'm talking about or something similar and shooting a wider shot overall so you get more of the environment in the photo. Now, when I say I like 70 millimeters, I'm talking about a pretty tight cropped in shot in the vehicle. Because remember, again, the focal length does not determine the distortion of the vehicle or the person or anything in your image. It's how far away you are from the subject. Now, this next tip's gonna sound kind of simple and maybe obvious, but get a variety of shots. This honestly goes for most types of photography, but specifically with vehicles, I think a lot of people get stuck in shooting the same kind of shot, like a head-on shot or a 3/4 shot or a full side shot, and just getting the same kind of 3 or 4 shots of the entire vehicle, but come in close. Use a tight focal length, grab some shots of the headlights, the taillights, all the different logos, the different badges. Make sure you go in the interior, make sure the interior is clean, but take shots in the interior and capture the different features and logos inside the vehicle as well. Cars are large objects with a lot of little details on them, so make sure you're capturing everything. Now, Rich has done a lot of automotive stuff with some supercars and Lamborghinis and cool stuff. Rich, do you have any tips for rolling shots?
No matter the shutter speed, honestly, if you're doing 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, or even if you're sweet with it, 1/8, knowing that you're gonna follow the car, where is it gonna end up in your frame? So if the car's gonna be coming through my frame this way, I wanna have my body positioned to be ending up this way. So I will have my legs facing here, twisting into the pan. So I could probably get a good shot in between at this point and then just follow through at the end. It's a bit of a golf swing. You're gonna practice a lot this way, for sure.
I've been asked a few times, how do you get started in automotive photography? Where do I find people with cool cars who want photos of their cars? And I actually have some decent advice for this. Remember, most people with high-end cars take a lot of pride in their car. It's part of their hobby, it's part of what they're passionate about. So a lot of them want cool photos of their cars. And if you're building your portfolio, it's actually very easy to find people who will allow you to shoot their car for free when you're starting out in order to build that portfolio. Building out your automotive portfolio is as simple as finding someone with a cool car and saying, hey, can I take some photos of your car for free? And the success rate of people saying yes to this is surprisingly high because there's no risk to them. You can take photos on the spot and then they have some awesome, cool professional looking photos of their car that they love to post on Instagram or show their friends. When I did this, I would actually drive to local car washes, the do-it-yourself car washes, not the ones where you're driving through. Enthusiasts and people with nice cars generally don't go to the car washes where you drive through and the machines do it. So find the self-service car washes near you and take photos of the people's cars at the car wash. Also find some Instagram accounts that talk about where different car meets are happening. I'm not talking about big automotive shows, but just local parking lot car meets. It's a fun vibe, and same kind of thing. All those people love their cars and they want cool photos of their cars. So bring some business cards, bring your camera with you to take photos at the car meet. If there's 30 people there and you go up to all of them and say, hey, can I take some photos of your car for free? I'm building my portfolio. I'm just learning. I'll send you some photos afterwards. I guarantee you, you're going to get a bunch of people that let you use their car. The next step up for this would be to bring a friend with you with their car that you can use as a camera car for roller shots. Now, I'm not endorsing any illegal actions on the roads here. Make sure you are in accordance with your local laws on this, but you can go out on the road and potentially take photos of the vehicle rolling on the street, which are more dynamic and really cool shots to get. And the cool part is once you are comfortable with the amount of photos in your portfolio and you're feeling confident about your work, you can do the same thing, keep this strategy, but now tell people, hey, this is my portfolio. You show it to them on your phone. You say, this is what I can do for however much money. This is what I'm going to charge. If you ever want some photos, here's my card. Let me know. Or you can go up to them and say, hey, here's my portfolio, but say your first shoot is free. If you want to do another one, it would be this amount of money, but I'll get some photos for you for free. And setting that expectation up from the start that the first one's free, but then if you want to do this again, it's paid, helps ensure that you end up with a paying client in the end instead of someone who just expects you to work for free forever. Now, once you start telling people you're charging money, especially at these little local car meets or at the car wash, your success rate of people who are going to say yes to photo shoots is going to plummet. But that's part of freelancing and owning a business is you got to put yourself out there. You got to talk to as many people as possible and not get let down when you get a bunch of rejections in a row. Now, if you have a solid portfolio, you can also take this to different locations. You can start going to auto shows, not local car meets, but proper organized shows, and going up to the different vendors and owners at these shows and giving them your card. Now, doing a shoot on the spot there is probably not going to be very convenient for them or good for you, but pass out your card to as many people as possible, show your portfolio to as many people as possible. Again, these are just the types of events where it's really convenient for you because every single person you could possibly want to hire you is all in the same place. The next step would be you could also go to car dealerships around you and walk in and say, if you can talk to a manager and say, hey, look, I'm an automotive photographer. I take these great images. Do you guys need any of this kind of work done? Once you have the portfolio, it gets a lot easier to go to the next level and start making some money. If you do this enough and you don't give up, eventually it's going to pay off, especially at these big meets where you can talk to 50 people in one night about paying you for photos. Odds are if you talk to 50 people and you explain your value really well and you're priced in a good area, odds are if you ask all 50 of them, someone's gonna say yes. But that's all the tips I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks to GMC for giving me a truck. That was kind of cool. Let me know in the comments if you have any automotive photography tips that you've picked up over the years. I would love to hear them. If you learned something, hit the like button, maybe subscribe if you want to see more. And that's all I got for you. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.